Captain Westfall, Chaol Westfall, the Captain of the Guard. Hey guys, it's Sarah here. Today I'm going to be doing a little thing I like to call Sarah Does Books. And by that I mean review. And by that I mean rant about. I like to rant. At the beginning of the year, one of my main goals that I made was to read more, seeing as in 2018 I read a grand total of 0 books. I know, I'm fantastic. So I was very adamant this year that I read at least 12, one per month. And thanks to baby, I finished my first one in 4 days. So here, have this video where I talk about the book, rant about everything I did not like about it. So the first book that I read this year that we're going to talk about is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Maas. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. So I first read this book in July of 2017. I read the first few chapters, I put it down, and I did not pick it back up again. I cannot for the life of me remember why. For some reason I think it's because I didn't like it, but honestly I'm not sure. This will be a spoiler review. I am going to talk about characters, I'm going to talk about plot points, I'm going to talk about any twists and turns and the climax and the tension. I'm going to talk about it all because that way it can open up a conversation between us. And in fact, doing that, I spent goddamn ages going through this book to find the references to everything I'm going to talk about. You're welcome. So guys, if you haven't read Throne of Glass and you don't want any spoilers, skip away now. There's going to be a timestamp in the description which will take you straight to my general spoiler-free overall opinion and review of the book. So now that I've said that, spoilers officially start in 3, 2, 1. You were warned. Throne of Glass. I'm going to read the back of it. Meet Selena Sardothian. Beautiful. Deadly. Destined for greatness. In the dark, filthy salt mines of Endovia, an 18-year-old girl is serving a life sentence. She is a trained assassin, the best of her kind, but she made a fatal mistake. She got caught. Young Captain Westfall offers her a deal. Her freedom in return for one huge sacrifice. Selena must represent the prince in the To the Death tournament, fighting the most gifted thieves and assassins in the land. Live or die, Selena will be free. Win or lose, she is about to discover her true destiny. But will her assassin's heart be melted? There you go. Okay, so let's get into this. Selena's an assassin. She's like the best assassin in Ardalan? No. I don't know the name of the world. They're in Ardalan, that's the country they're in, I suppose. Something happened, she gets caught like a noob and gets sent to the salt mines where Endovia keeps all of the slaves. The captain of the guard comes to her, takes her to Prince Dorian Haviliard, and he basically says, my father's looking for a champion, someone to protect him and do what needs to be done to ensure his safety and whatnot, and I want you to be my champion. And it's at this point we're like, okay, so she's going to be the champion and she's going to take part in whatever tournament this is and she's going to win. Like, she's the protagonist, of course she's going to win. How is she going to win? That's the question. They go to this massive glass palace that the king has erected over the original stone castle, like a show-off dick, basically. She's dressed in fine clothes and she's given food and she's trained along with 23 other champions. I'm going to guess 23. It's 24 in total. So they're going to do 13 weeks of training. One person will be sent home after every week. Some people might die, and then the 4 best at the end will fight in a tournament to decide who is going to be the king's champion. That's plot A. the first plot, the main plot. First of all, I felt completely and utterly gypped about the fact that this life or death tournament is not a life or death tournament. It's, hi, let me take these deadly assassins and soldiers and thieves who already know how to, do all of these dangerous things, and let me train them. Why do they even need training? Like, is it to get their strength back up? Have they all been kept in, like, slave camps and stuff, like Selena does? I don't know, because we don't actually ever really get to know any of the other champions, except for two. Cain, who's this big brutish dick that everyone hates, and Nox, who is a thief, a fellow assassin, is one of those two, and he and Selena sort of like make friends. Of course it was Cain and Selena that ended up as the final two to fight, because it was obvious from the absolute start. I knew it, the other readers knew it, the champions knew it, the sponsors for the champions knew it, the king wasn't even at the castle, but he probably also knew it. My husband, who hasn't even heard about this book, let alone read it, probably also knew that Cain and Selena would end up as the final two. So why we had to go through all of those tasks and all of those weeks when everybody knew for a fact that Cain and Selena were the two strongest and would fight each other at the end, I don't know. I do know because we needed plot to happen. And then we get to B plot. B plot is to do with all of the magical and the world building. B plot is there's something special about Selena because she's the protagonist, so of course there is. She has a destiny to fulfill, and this destiny, this task, is given to her by some dead ghost fairy queen whose tomb she happens to stumble upon. Selena has to win the championship and defeat the evil in the castle. That's plot B. The whole destiny thing, which was a big point made at the back of the book, was sort of glossed over and resolved really, really quickly. Like, way too quickly. Like, stupidly quickly. We are introduced to plot B, the magic plotline, the destiny plotline, halfway through the book. Page 186. And I know it's page 186 because I have it marked right here. I was wrong. It's page 182, chapter 25. That's when destiny comes into it, and there's about 400 pages to this book. So B plot, the most interesting plot, doesn't start until halfway through the book. It is resolved on page 317. I found it. I didn't mark that down. Don't know why. It's resolved on page 317. So it's 186, 286, 130 pages relegated to the destiny plot, plot B. Win or lose, she's about to discover her true destiny. That's 130 odd pages of that. That's the plot. Why is it so short? Why don't we have more of this plot? It was so interesting and you fluffed it. Also, speaking of that plot, like, what? Okay, so I'll explain. There is this princess in the castle, the Princess of Elwë. I'm completely fluffing up the names. I'm not bothered to look through the book to see if I've got the exact name correctly. As far as I'm aware, Elwë has been conquered, but they still have, like, a princess. She is at the castle doing something. We don't know what she's doing. Something sneaky and political, no doubt. She knows about the destiny plot. She knows. The entire time it was going on, she knew what was happening. Why didn't you tell anyone? No, let me back up. Partway through this book, one of the champions dies. Mysteriously. Disgustingly. Brutally. Like, ripped open. And everyone, like, doesn't care. Like, oh, it must have been a drunken fight and someone killed him. Like, Why would you think that? Maybe if he'd been stabbed once or his throat slit, maybe, yeah, a drunken fight, but like brain missing, insides missing, why would that be a drunken fight? Why are you not cancelling this tournament after this one person's fault? Because clearly one of the champions has done it, no one else is going to. But no one seems to care and it's sort of brushed under the rug. And then another champion dies in the same way. And then another champion dies in the same way. And continuously it is brushed underneath the mat because no one gives a damn about what is going on to these thieves and murderers and blah 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 blah. And then it's not until Selena actually gets to like investigate the scene that she discovers this link between the murders and these weird marks. I'm gonna call them weird marks because they're weird marks. And then she sort of discovers like a link between them. So she investigates. And then she discovers that one of the champions, Kane, has been using these weird marks to summon these creatures to kill the champions and to steal their strength. And she doesn't tell anybody. Why not? That sounds like a smart plan. Like, I've discovered the murderer. I know what's going on. It's, you know, forbidden magic which is prohibited in this world and is punishable by death. But, you know, got to keep the tournament going. So I'll just... Nehemia knew about it the entire bloody time. Nehemia, who recognised the weird marks, who knew the second she stepped foot in the castle that people were using the weird marks for their own gain, she knew it was Kane, that he was summoning these creatures for the entire time, who were killing the other champions, and she's been going around destroying them and trapping them and, you know, stopping them from going any further because Kane bloody didn't do it himself. And she didn't tell anybody. Like, could she not raise up a hand and go, "Hi, Dorian, I know who's killing all of these people. By the way, it's one of your champions who is doing magic, which is not allowed. Let's sort him out, shall we?" Nobody told anybody what was going on when they found out. Nobody. Why would nobody tell them? I know why. Because we needed plot to happen. Plot C is the romance plot. The romance plot bored me. I don't like romance. I'm not a fan of romance. I'm going to say that countless times throughout this review. I'm letting you know. The overall plot isn't awful. It's not brilliant. It's not awful. The world building that goes on is absolutely fantastic. I love the aspect of the magic. I loved how the king came in and started, you know, conquering all of these other countries and kingdoms, basically outlawed magic. No one's allowed to practice it at all whatsoever. They can be killed for it. Magic has disappeared from the land. That is such an interesting concept, and I really wish that was delved into more in the overall plot. But it's sort of like, I'll mention it, perhaps saving it for a sequel. I don't know, but I wish it was touched upon more in this book, because I think for me that would have made it a lot more interesting than I thought the book actually was. So the pacing of this book, it was so slow. Oh my god, I was rolling my eyes the entire time. I know exactly why it was so slow for me. Because we have plot A, which is the tournament, and we have plot B, which is the magic plot, and we have plot C, which is the romance plot. You'd think plot A would be the main plot, and plot B would be the subplot, and plot C would be the sub-subplot. But despite all of the promises on the back, plot C, the romance plot, was the most focused upon part of the plot throughout the entire novel. I don't know why. I hate romance. I can't stand romance. I especially can't stand YA romance, and there was so much focus on the romance as a main plot point, it sort of shoved all the rest of the plot points, the interesting plot points, to the side. It takes place over around 15 weeks. So we open the book in the salt mines, they take 2 weeks to travel to Ardalan, and then the week after the tests and the tournament begin, which is around 13 weeks long. And as far as I know, minus maybe a week or so, that's the length of the book. She's there for the tournament, that's the reason she's here at Ardalan, but everything is so brushed over. Like, we see the first test, and we see a couple more tests, but then everything else is, and 2 weeks went by, and we did 2 more tests, and then we had another test, but we'll see that test. It bypassed all the bits that I would find interesting. I would have loved to see all 13 of the tests. We didn't. Couldn't think of 13 tests to do, could ya? The ones we saw were fantastic. I especially loved the wall climbing one where they had to climb up the height of the castle, and Selena got to show off her skills. That was fun. Someone died in that. It was awesome. Also, there's some really random scenes in the book. Now, I'm all for the importance of characterization, and not every scene needs to be thrilling or exciting, but every scene does need to push the plot forward. And all of these random scenes didn't really push the plot forward at all, except for the stupid romance plot, or except to sort of show us a different side to Selena. There's scenes where she's in her room, like, she's too tired to do this, and she's too tired to do this, and she's too tired to do this, so she just did this. That's a scene. Why is that a scene? It's not needed. It's less than a paragraph long. Bored the hell out of me. Is there no better way you could transition between this plot point and this plot point that isn't Selena sitting in her room musing over what to do because she's so tired? Also, something else that really bugged me, which slowed down the pacing, was how she kept on referring to the characters. So there are 2 characters in which I noticed that she did this quite a lot. Chaol, who is the captain of the guard, and Dorian, who is Dorian Haviliard, who is the prince. Now, in some scenes she would refer to Chaol as Chaol, it's his name. We know he's captain of the guard. But in some scenes she referred to him as the captain of the guard. Like the reader had forgotten who he was. And then sometimes Dorian was Dorian, and sometimes he was Dorian Haviliard. Okay, so first of all, how stupid do you think we readers are that you have to continuously refer to Chaol as Chaol and captain of the guard? Like we would forget he is captain of the guard, or like we would forget his name. Second of all, why do I care about Dorian Haviliard's last name? Why do you keep reminding me what it is? It's not important, honestly. That's all I'm going to say on that matter. So the characters. Selena, Chaol, the captain of the guard, and Dorian Haviliard are the 3 main characters. And I am not fond of any of them. I didn't feel a connection, I didn't grow to like them, and you know, that's just me. It made it really difficult to care about what happened to these characters. They just bored me. Like, Chaol and Dorian are basically the same person, except Dorian don't have nothing to do with girls, and no. See, I just got them mixed up. Chaol has nothing to do with girls, and Dorian's like some princely playboy. They're like cliches. Playboy prince and stoic captain of the guard. Chaol and Dorian, captain of the guard and Haviliard. And fair enough, they each have their depth and they each have their complexity, but again, that wasn't really explored within the novel. We didn't see it. We didn't really see them, and when we did, it always felt so out of place. Like, they'd be talking about one thing with Selena, and then all of a sudden here'd come this sob backstory, this is how I feel right now sort of thing, and then they'd go back to whatever banter it was that they were talking about in the first place. Also, that was another thing that bothered me, the fact that there was so much forced conflict and so much forced tension between all these characters. in that they'd be getting along 1 second in the scene, and then the next second, despite the fact that no one said anything stupid and it came out of nowhere, one of the characters would be pissed off at the other character and they'd have a little mini argument and then they'd just go back to, chatting. It felt so awkward and so out of place and so forced. Like the forced plot point of Nehemia and Selena not telling anybody that it was Cain who was using magic to kill the champions. Because plot. Selena, I'm so sad for Selena. Like, not sad for her, I'm sad about how her character was portrayed in the book. Like, reading the back, I was expecting and I was looking forward to some badass, can't tell me what to do assassin, because we rarely get that in YA. All of the female characters who are snarky or badass or bitchy or show any sort of negative traits always have to have that one part of their personality that sort of has to endear them to the reader. Like, she is a badass, but, and I think that it was the but was overplayed. She has depth, she has a past, she has complexity, that's fantastic. But the only time we ever saw really cool, awesome Selena was right at the beginning when she was first being told about the tournament. And that sort of completely went away as soon as we got to Endover. That sort of almost went away as soon as we got to Ardalan, minus the random bits of arguments that got tossed in during conversations to sort of remind us that she was a badass. Like, I would have so preferred her to keep that snarky attitude throughout the entire thing, without having to cave to, but she's also nice and she also can play the piano and she can also have nice decent conversations and ooh look, she loves puppies. I didn't need that, and all of that made me not like her because she didn't have a basic personality. People are always changing and they're always different, and their personality and how they act changes with every situation. I feel that with Selena we didn't have like a continuously base personality, which was the I'm hard, I'm snarky, can't tell me what to do, bitch, I'm the best assassin in the world. We rarely saw that, and I think that was a really missed opportunity, despite what she's going through, despite the fact that she has to play nice, despite the fact that she's in this awful situation, despite the fact that she's scared. It was great to see her scared, but the assassin that I saw at the beginning of the novel was not the same assassin, for me, we saw when we got to Ardalan. And now we come to my most favourite part of the review, the C plot, aka the A plot, aka the romance. I hate romance. First of all, obvious love triangle is obvious. Like, super obvious. Page 8. Page 8 is where we discover the love triangle between Selena, Captain Chaol Westford, Captain of the Guard, and Dorian Haviliard, the Prince of Ardalan. Page 8. And the romance wasn't even that good either. The Captain of the Guard and Dorian are so creepy. They're there watching her in her room while she sleeps, going to her room at whatever damn time of day they please, watching her from a distance. Like, that's stalker creepy stuff going on, guys. Now, I know Chaol is the Captain of the Guard and he's supposed to be watching her to ensure that she doesn't try to escape or kill anybody, and Dorian Haviliard is the prince and can do what he damn well pleases and go where he damn well wants to go. But that is not an excuse to stand there and watch someone creepily while they play the piano, or stand there and creepily watch someone while they sleep. Like, who does that? These two creepy dudes, that's who does it. Okay, so the romance itself wasn't massively overplayed. It wasn't forced onto us. It wasn't pushed onto us. It was very subtle. And we saw it as we saw the characters sort of grow to know each other, admire each other, and trust each other, and like each other as friends. So it wasn't like in your face. You see Selena make a few references to, the way they look and how she feels, and then you get a couple of POVs from Chaol and Dorian Haviliard. Oh, she looks so pretty, and oh, I didn't know she was going to be like this, sort of thing. So it's done in a nice way. My problem is, it's done this is supposed to be a C plot, but it is the A plot kind of way. The majority of this book focuses on the relationship between Selena and the captain of the guard, and Selena and Dorian. I didn't like how much focus it got. Like, there were so much more interesting things going on with the A plot of the tournament, which was brushed over, and the B plot, which is the Destiny plot, which got resolved in about 130 pages, which was also brushed over, and made it seem and feel more like a romance novel with bits of fantasy and action in it. I did not expect that going into reading the book. I assumed that there would be some sort of romance going on, but I assumed the to the death tournament, fighting the most gifted thieves and assassins in the land, would be the focus point of the book, and it wasn't. Not to say that I wasn't interested in the romance, like, I was looking forward to seeing where it was going to go and who she was going to end up with, because it's not a YA book unless she does. So every time that she had a conversation, I would be, are they going to kiss? 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 Are they going to kiss now? Spoiler alert, they kiss. It's Dorian. She gets together with Dorian Haviliard. That's who she gets together with momentarily. She has this sort of relationship with him until she wins the tournament at the end and decides, sup, can't be with you anymore, because that'd be inappropriate. This has ended, but let's be friends. And then I spent the rest of the short part of the book in all of the scenes between her and Dorian going, are you going to kiss? Are you going to kiss? Are you going to kiss now? Is this where this is going to happen? It doesn't. They don't kiss. At least not yet. There's a few miscellaneous points I want to bring up that I liked about the plot. First of all was Nehemia. Princess of Elwë, leader of the rebellion. Like, she was awesome. She was my favourite character. She was really well developed. She was, of course, used as a plot device to create conflict, unnecessary conflict that was not there to begin with. There's this part of the book where Selena goes to the library at midnight and Nehemia's there, and Nehemia's reading a book, and she's not very well versed in speaking the language of Ardalan, so Selena's been teaching her. But Nehemia's reading this really, really advanced book, and she acts really, really weird to Selena, like dismisses her, like she's not a friend, and leaves, which gives Selena ample time to find a piece of paper that Nehemia had that had weird marks on it. Dun dun dun! Was Nehemia the person behind the weird marks? Is she the one who is using them to summon these creatures to kill all of the champions, to create conflict and tension within the castle she so desperately hates? No, that's not what she was doing. She was researching the weird marks because she knew the entire time who was killing the champions, and she didn't tell anyone. As you can see, a really, really sore point for me. And to have that one moment where Selena distrusts her, tries to make the readers distrust her in a sort of attempt to move the plot along, it didn't work. It's like it didn't work. Obviously put in there to throw us all off our tracks. Except it worked for Selena. I did not know she was that gullible or naive. The other plot that we had was with Perrington. He's a duke, I think. He is the sponsor for Kane, and he's got this weird sort of subplot going on with some woman called Caltaine. I don't think that's her name. I think that's her surname. I don't know what her actual name is. She's a lady, and Caltaine is using Perrington in order to get to Dorian Haviliard. But, shock twist, Perrington and the king are in fact using Caltaine to test out some form of, I can only assume, is magic. Magic, you say? But the king has outlawed magic, and it is punishable by death. Why on earth would he be using it? I don't know, because that's sequel material. But no, I really enjoyed that sort of plot twist. That Pennington knew all along that Caltaine was using him, that he was using some weird magic on her. The king has this weird black ring, I think. And I can only guess what they're going to do, like try and manipulate people into doing things for them. So that's sort of an interesting thing, like what's going on. Why is the king using magic when he had it outlawed in the first place? What's going on with Pennington? I don't quite care what happens to Caltaine personally, because I can't stand her, I hate her guts. But that was really interesting plot point that I enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to seeing where that's going. I also really enjoyed Nox. Nox was a character I also did not hate, and I wish that we'd have seen more of. I can't quite exactly tell you why. Maybe because he was one of the very few characters outside of the main three that we actually saw and got to spend time with. But I really liked him, and I really liked his personality, and I hate the fact that he just vanished into the night. Like, does no one watch you? Like, why hasn't anybody done that in the past 13 weeks? So I really hope we'll see him again. Okay, so if you have skipped the entire spoiler section and come to this point here, welcome back. All in all, I enjoyed Throne of Glass. I enjoyed the mix of genre in the different plots that we had going on, despite the fact I did not like how all of those plots were handled, in terms of which should have been more present and more talked about and more shown compared to others. I liked Selena, not as much as I should like a protagonist. I think there were some real missed opportunities with her personality and her characterization. And for Captain Westfall, Captain of the Guard, and Dorian Havillard, despite their dullness on the surface, they have got some complexity going on, which I'm looking forward to having explored. The pacing was off for me. It went a lot slower than I hoped it would, but again, that's because of me and how the plots were arranged and intertwined with each other. There were some really weird scene transitions which I didn't like, and some really weird POVs within the chapters, which also threw me off a little bit. I'm all for multiple POVs in a book, but I prefer them either chapter by chapter, so each chapter has a different POV, or in the same chapter but there's like a clear definition of which POV is which. That did happen in Throne of Glass, but the POV switch happened for a paragraph or so, which really didn't work for me. Like, the chapter would be in Selena's point of view, and then she'd be talking to one of the other characters. So she's talking to the Captain of the Guard, she's talking to Chaol, and then the POV would switch from Selena to Chaol for a paragraph, and then switch back to Selena. That really threw me off. I really hated that, and it pulled me out of the story a little bit with what was going on. The ending confused me. I had to read it twice. I still don't know quite what's going on, but I speed read. I probably did actually miss something, and I got about 4 hours sleep the night before I read the ending, and I'm either missing something or not understanding something, and that is not the plot's fault, unless you know you guys also don't understand or are missing something. That's my fault. But the plot was wrapped up well. It stands alone as a solo novel, which is great, which is what I think all novels or series should do. It opens up the possibility for more to come, and it's interesting to think about what more they could explore within this world. Of course, there is a lot more to explore with the Destiny plot. I don't think that's over yet. As much as it was touched upon in the book, I have a funny feeling that it's being saved for later sequels. Now, on a scale of dump it now to I need the sequel yesterday, Throne of Glass for me sits at a firm I'll put it on my list. The plot was decent, the characters were decent, there was some really good foreshadowing and promises of things to come which are interesting, but it didn't hold my attention or make me fall in love with it so much that I need the sequel in my hands right away. So guys, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching my review / rant of Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Do you agree with what I've said? Do you have any counterpoints you'd like to talk about? stick them into the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Good thoughts and happy writing. Or reading. This is a book review. Good thoughts and happy reading, everyone.